Good day and welcome back to the desk. Heavy news cycle today. A trade war between two old allies, sharp warnings out of Tehran, a deadly strike in Ukraine, and a father, a 7-year-old, and a mountain. Let's get into it. First, the US and Canada are now in an open trade fight. Just after midnight Saturday, Washington slapped 50% tariffs on roughly $20 billion worth of Canadian goods. And it wasn't supposed to end this way. The two sides had 3 straight days of talks and were signaling a deal was close before it collapsed at the deadline. Both sides blame each other. Prime Minister Mark Carney called the last-minute US terms unfair and uneconomic and suspended the talks. Washington says Canada made 11th-hour demands that blew up a deal that was basically done. What's getting taxed is oddly specific. Hockey sticks, plywood, liquor, some dairy, about 5% of what Canada ships south each year. On its own, this isn't an economic earthquake. The danger is the door it opens. Carney has promised to hit back dollar for dollar, with retaliation starting September 8th on American steel, dairy, appliances and electronics. When asked why it felt like he was going to war, his answer was 4 words: because we were attacked. He says Canada has recognized that America has changed and the two won't return to their old relationship. The real casualty here is trust. Now, the Middle East. Iran has issued a sharp warning to its neighbors. Do not join the United States' economic war against us, or you'll be treated as an enemy. It's a direct response to President Trump announcing what he called the most crushing economic operation against Iran, framed as an economic D-Day. And it's all playing out around the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow choke point that normally carries about 1/5 of the world's oil and gas. Right now, it's essentially bottled up. Iran shut down traffic, prices spiked, and thousands of seafarers are stranded on hundreds of ships. Iran is even threatening the alternative routes countries are using to get around it. And separately, Syria has condemned a recent Israeli airstrike near Damascus as a violation of international law. The through line is escalation with no clear off-ramp, and it only takes one miscalculation to make it far worse. Story 3. Softer, heavier, slow down. Now Ukraine, and this one is hard. Rescue crews are still working in the city of Kryvyi Rih after a Russian strike on a shopping mall. At least 16 people are dead, around 130 wounded, more than 20 of them children. It came on a Friday afternoon when the mall was full. The first drones struck and a fire broke out. And then, about 30 minutes later, a second strike hit the same place, right as rescue workers arrived. It's called a double tap strike, hitting a target again to harm the very people trying to save lives. President Zelensky called the attackers monsters. Kryvyi Rih is his hometown. Behind every one of those numbers is a person who went to a mall on a Friday and didn't come home. They deserve to be remembered as more than a statistic. And finally, something completely different. A Japanese father took his 7-year-old son hiking on Mount Fuji, and when the boy got tired, he left him to finish the trail alone. The story went global, the criticism was swift, and the father has since apologized. I'll be fair, Japan has a real tradition of encouraging kids' independence young. But a familiar errand is one thing. A 7-year-old alone on one of the country's most demanding mountains is another. The stakes are just different. And that's why it struck such a nerve. So that's where things stand. Two old allies over a 50% wall. Iran drawing hard lines while the Strait of Hormuz sits choked. Ukraine pulling people from the wreckage of an ordinary Friday. And a reminder of how fragile the ties we take for granted really are. Thanks for spending this time with me. Take care of the people around you, and we'll see you next time.